Kyiv and Ukrainian citizens are used to attacks, and these attacks are only make them angry. Of course, we want this everything to end. Attack-MS rockets could hit targets for 300 kilometers and more. Ukraine need the equal power. The long-awaited breakthrough in issue of supply to Ukraine. There will be no disputes and discords in the NATO, and it's very good news. But those tanks will not decide everything. It's not like a silver bullet for vampires, no. Hi everybody, it's Alex Gray in today's 341 day of the war between Ukraine and Russia. And what news do we have today? At Thursday, Ukraine again hear an air alert that lasts for 4 hours, and it lasts until the last rocket was hit. Russian army again attacked the Ukrainian infrastructure by Iranian drones and a lot of rockets. It was 13 massive rocket attack since the beginning of the war. 55 rockets were launched at the Ukraine, and as we know, 85% of these rockets were hit by Ukrainian air defense. 11 citizens died because of this rocket attack, but all Ukrainian drones were hit. But some rockets hit the targets, and it was again electric infrastructure of Ukraine. Kyiv and Ukrainian citizens are used to attacks, and these attacks are only make them angry. According to the new statistics, the more attacks from Russia come into the Ukraine, the more rockets and drones are hit by air defense. And from the last attack that was on the Thursday, we see that 85% of rockets were hit and all drones was destroyed, and it's very good information for Ukraine. So less targets hits, less damage to infrastructure, less damage to civilians, and it's much better for life. Of course, we want this everything to end, to Russia stop attacking at all, but we won't see that in the near future. The war is still going, and it will go. So watch my channel and you will know all the information about the war, how it's going, the news around it, until it's over. So from the October to November, the percent of rockets that were hit by air defense was from 50 to 80%, and the last attack is very good for Ukraine. But after the next attack on 28 January, 3 men died, and the President Zelensky asked from the West, from the USA, the new rockets Attack-MS that could hit targets for further distance. Attack-MS rockets could hit targets for 300 kilometers and more, so it will let the Kyiv to attack targets from not only on the Ukraine territory but on the Russian territory, because they feel Russia feel they're safe because it's so long distance, and they just carry all these rockets and a lot of weapons farther distance from Ukraine, so they won't reach it with regular rockets, because HIMARS's regular rockets could hit up to 90 kilometers, and it's not much distance. And Russia, from the other side, has a lot of rockets that could hit from 500 to more than 1,000 kilometers. So this is the advantage for Russia, and Ukraine need the equal power for the rockets to defend their country, their territory, infrastructure, people, army, everything, because they are defending, they're not attacking, and Russia is attacking. So that's why they're asking for long-distance rockets, and it's pretty fair to ask these rockets from USA and NATO. Ukraine before asked for these rockets 2 weeks ago. USA refused to give that rockets to Ukraine because they said they could carry with those weapons that we already gave them with less distance rockets. They're doing very good with those weapons, and we won't give you the new rockets for further distance. All this talk about new rockets appeared because of this long-awaited breakthrough in issue of supply to Ukraine hard, heavy weapons like tanks. The USA and Germany agreed that they will give both countries will give tanks to Ukraine. So Germany will give 14 Leopards and Ukraine will give 31 Abrams. And this is very good news to Ukraine again, because it's good tanks and a good support for Ukraine. It's so good news that even the Joe Biden said on the presentation that there will be no disputes and discords because in the NATO forces in the alliance, and it will not let Russia to be successful right now, and the allies will be united, and Russia won't do anything with that. Joe Biden called Scholz his good friend, and he said that he thanks for his position for supporting Ukraine, and thanks Scholz for active position, that he is for the unity and for continue to stop this war, to helping Ukraine. But there is also not good news about this tank support from NATO in USA, because even those 31 Abrams, to bring it to Ukraine, it could last for more than 1 year. So it's so much time. We all know that this is difficult logistics to bring tanks to another side of the planet, but not 1 year. It's really a lot of time. They need it much closer. They need it in several months, not in 1 year on the end of summer. So the diplomat of Ukraine in France declared that in the end, the West and all these allies will give Ukraine more than 300 tanks. And it's very good news, because that's how much head of Ukrainian general staff said that they need 300 tanks for the counterattack and to try to get those territories back that Russia already conquered. And Russia said and Putin said that they will stay in those territories forever. According to the totality of characteristics, firepower, weight, ease to repair in the main striking set, in the future there will be these tanks of Germany Leopards. But those tanks will not decide everything. It's not like a silver bullet for vampires. No, they won't win this war by themselves. American war expert Rob Lee tells that not only these tanks are a really good effort, but more like Bradley and Stryker is that will be supplied to Ukraine more than 1,000 units, and the artillery more than 100. And together with tanks, it's very good support, and maybe we will see good counterattack. And also the Challenger 2 tank is really very effective on the warfield, thanks to its armor protection. In its the type of the fire, it could fire more than 8 kilometers. It's like 5 miles or 6 miles. And it's further than regular tanks by twice more than regular tanks. And thanks to electronics, the commander of the tank should not search for the targets through these optics. Now, thanks to electronics, he knows all targets from drones, from satellites, and this electronics give him information, and he could easily fire on targets. And it's not all news about the weapon supply. Increasing production of Lockheed Martin, the F16, so they could supply it to Ukraine. But we all know that to use F16, it requires education. It's not those types of airplanes that use in Ukraine and Russia. So it needs another education for more than half year for each pilot to able to control F16. So the war began for almost a year before, and now I think we already got those pilots that are ready to fly F-16. and this will be really interesting how it will be on the field, how it will looks, and how Russia will deal with that. If they can deal with that. Also, there is talk about supply the Swedish Gripen interceptors that could be able to take off from the highway, and they will not require any airports, because those airports are the main targets for Russian rockets. And from the beginning of the war, we saw how Russia destroying war airports. But there are not so much these Swedish interceptors that could be supplied to Ukraine, so there is more difficult to get these planes to Ukraine. So I don't think that they will give them all the planes that they have and will live without them. It will be decided on the next meeting in the Ramstein. The priorities for the most effective will be it's F16, it's a good service, it's up to 13,000 countries use this aircraft. So more than 5,000 units were produced in various modifications. And Ukraine got a lot of pilots that ready to fly these planes, so they just don't have enough planes for those pilots, and there are enough pilots. They're just waiting for the planes. F-16 proven himself very good through those decades that he already in the service, and USA and other countries used that planes. And priority for aviation is because tanks are very good targets for aviation, and if they will supply only tanks, it will be destroyed by Russian Air Force. And they need all this together: tanks, planes, air defense. All this together will be much more effective than only just one thing. Tanks are not HIMARSes. It's not so easy to hide it from Air Force, and it's not so active. Could not move so fast as HIMARS. HIMARS could move more than 100 kilometers per hour, and tanks could not move with that speed. It's much less, and if the road is not good, the speed will be very slow, and it's very good targets for aviation. If NATO and USA just give one kind of, it would be a very stupid move, and I don't think that anyone would give that without support. So they will give all these three types: is tanks, Air Force, air defense, and this artillery and this striker, those types of weak vehicles. So hit the like, subscribe for more, comment down below what you think about that, share it with your friends. This was Alex Gray, and goodbye.